folks, welcome to the show. It's Monday, which means it's Conquest time. Thank you very much for joining me, and before we start this week, I will make sure I remember to give a big Patreon shout out to Wayne and to Tim as well. Thank you very much. Without you, these shows wouldn't happen. And if you want to become a Patreon, you can. The link is in the description below. And I do believe if I bring up the keyword support, you'll be able to find a quick link in the chat as well, if you haven't already done so. And there are all sorts of other commands that I did after my Thursday show. I did all sorts of little commands that you can type into the chat so that you've got things to do. And all you have to do is use certain commands with the exclamation point in front of it, much like the word command in the chat, and it will pop up theoretically, will pop up with some commands for you to use, although it doesn't seem to work, so that's helpful. But I do believe if you type in for your viewing pleasure, you should be able to do that. And then you can use those words there in the chat, and you'll be able to find some little emoji things that will be quite funny. But feel free to use those at your leisure. It's just something to do if it goes quiet. Other than that, don't forget to that side. Throw me pictures of your models. That light is in the way. Throw me pictures of your models onto any of my social media, and also if you have an Instagram account, let me know what you are. You get put on my story, and they also get put in there. And I don't have one for on time, so that's surprising. I think there will be lots of emojis going, as in, oh my god, you're actually on time for a change, which will be funny. But yeah, so we have those. But yes, don't forget to throw me some pictures of your models using the various hashtags up here. There they are, BFOPS Live. And if it's a Conquest model, BFOPS Conquest. And I tend to put those hashtags on things anyway. But yes, like Chris's model here, and all the various other models that come through. And you get to have a look at some of mine down there that I just decided that I was going to use up some screen time real estate. As you all know, we have issue number 17 today. I did have a very quick look of it as we went through, and there's not much in it, so this show might be quite short as compared to some of the others. Where I had a chat with my Patreons a couple of months ago, and they said that, don't worry about trying to fill out an hour and a half. If it happens to be a short one, it happens to be short. So it could be a short one, so don't forget to jump on the chat, say hello, have some comments. If you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in there, because we could end up getting through this magazine relatively quickly compared to what I usually do. And so we'll get on with that shortly, I think. But yes, there is, let me just have a look at what the, that's what I missed actually. I forgot the, welcome Mark, thank you for joining in the chat. I did forget that actually the command one that I was going to do, so that you can find all of the commands, actually has an S on the end of it. So that's why. So while we're in the chat, if you want to get used to those, you can press the exclamation point commands. It comes up with various other things. Don't forget to put a exclamation point in front of any of those words, and then you've got various things that you can find on there. I still need to remember them myself, and Wayne is going to help remember them as well when he can. But feel free, if you want to remember any of the commands that come through on the chat, you can have a look to see when I'm online, what tiers there are, how much of the tiers are for Patreon support. You can find when I'm online, and also all my various links to all my social media. So if you haven't found me on Instagram, if you haven't found me on Facebook, I do have a Twitch channel as well. You can find, yes, there they are, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Thank you for that one, Mark. Yeah, so if you haven't already found all of those, found me on all of those social media, if you want to, you can find all of the information in a link, and it'll pop up in a link in the chat. So if you're using a PC, you can just open up in a new window, or you can, when we finish, you can scroll back through the chat to find the various links you're looking for on the YouTube chat. So there we are. I think that's pretty much the only change that I've done to since last time I was live. Don't forget, however, we're a few days into February. I do still plan on doing my Ask Me Anything at the end of every month, which means that you can ask me anything. Just find the video from January, throw a comment in the description below, in the comment section below January's Ask Me Anything, and that will get added to the questions for February. And if you're already a Patreon, you can ask me anything on Patreon anytime, and also in the Patreon chat, and we can have a chat and just add some questions to be added to the Ask Me Anything at any time. So there's that. Excuse me, big gulp of Coke earlier didn't help. Other than that, I think we're pretty much done. So we may as well get started with the magazine, I think. So let me just change that over. As always, there we go. Nice big picture of issue number 17, and it comes with, I may as well get to this now because I built this one. I built one on the stream. What was it? Issue number 14 or so that we got the first container. I can't remember exactly which issue it was, but yeah. So I don't think I'll be opening. I won't be building this on the stream. This will actually be used on a video. How to build. So have a look at the sprue there. We have a Minotaur armored container, along with 3 barrels and 4 boxes. I've got a phone buzzing around here somewhere. There it is. What's that buzzing for? It's oh, okay. It's Nectar just telling me that it's yeah, fair enough. I don't need to worry about that. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we got 4 boxes and 3 barrels and 1 armored container. So I will do a separate video on how to build the armored container, and you'll be able to find that on my channel sometime in the future when I've managed to get a few how to builds put together. So we won't be putting that together now. If you want to see me putting one of these armored containers together, you just have to go look back in one of the other live shows where I built one of these. Alright, but other than that, we've had a look at that. There we go. Like I said, it might be a fairly short episode today, just generally because we've already done the container. As per usual, I will remove the front page because I don't need that. And we head on into this issue, going straight on into 40k Factions and number 2, where we discuss the Chaos Gods themselves, which is kind of cool. I've never really looked into the Chaos Gods myself. I know of them. I know that there are 4 of them. And speaking of 4, there we are. We have Khorne the Blood God, who essentially is basically everything murder, carnage, and war, and all that sort of bloody stuff. And we have Tzeentch, which is the Changer of Ways. He's the god of magic and change. The Master of Time is also known as the Great Conspirator and the Architect of Fate. His plans are vast and complex. Yeah, so a bit of everything in. Nurgle, of course, with the Conquest magazine, we're going to get the Death Guard, which are very much followers of Nurgle, who is death, decay, illness, sickness, all the nasty stuff, and I imagine also, yeah, the Great Lord of Decay, so obviously, you know, when things die and they fall apart and rot, he is also the god of that as well. And of course we have Slaanesh, who is the Dark Prince. She is the Dark Prince. Everything that is done in excess of various pursuits of perfection and sensation and sexuality and various other things like that, which is kind of cool. It pretty much covers all of the human emotions covered by 4 different gods, which is basically what the warp is about. It's made up of human emotion. And so we have a nice overview of all 4 of those, which is kind of cool. I want to just grab my folder, which is next to me here, and I'll pop that where it needs to be. which if we have a look, we do need to be careful of these because I actually ripped the what's it, so I need to buy some of those little plastic ring things that go around those to try and protect that, because the card's ripped on that already, and we've still got a few more few folders to go as yet. Now the factions go into just after battles, so we come past the battles into we got factions number 1, factions 1.1, factions 1.3. There we are, Space Marine chapters. Right, so we want to go just before the Space Marine chapters start, and we have a look at the Chaos Gods here. So we've just had a look at that. That will pop in here, and then straight out the back we have a bit more of an in-depth look into the Chaos God Nurgle, the god of 18 plus stuff, Slanesh, almost. I mean, yeah, I mean 18 plus stuff, but then also other things such as the search of perfection and taking things to the extreme. I think that's the PG-13 version of that god. So 2.1 is the Chaos God of Nurgle, the great corrupter, the father of plagues, the source and creator of every infections and epidemic that has affected the galaxy. He revels in the spread of decay and disease, but is also known as the most happiest of gods, I believe, and he's the friendliest, and sees that everything he gives as a gift, which is all very loving and nurturing. And then you have a look at the artwork that goes with it and go, is he really? And we have some fantastic artwork depicting all sorts of nasty bits and pieces that goes with him. Fulgrim was looking for perfection, and he was definitely a Slanesh worshipper, wasn't he? Alrighty then. So we have, we're now nipping into something that I don't think we've seen before, is the war zones, which I'm just having a look down here where that goes in the book, which actually goes backwards a little bit. Just after domains, just after history. Alright, so it comes after history. War zones 1. Oh, here we go. Right, okay. So this is another interesting way of looking at how this folder goes together. We have War Zones 1 here and War Zones 1 here. Not 1.1, it's War Zones 1 and War Zones 1. Now I'm assuming that this is an overview of the War Zone of Ultramar, and this is talking about the Defenders of Ultramar. So I imagine it goes afterwards. But essentially what we have here is we have the defense during Nurgle's invasion of Ultramar was 3 parts. The initial losses, where the defenders gave ground before the Death Guard onslaught, the recovery with the return of the Primarch Guilliman, and finally the sieging of the initiative with the Primarch's counterattacks along with the final battle, which I imagine are these sections here, or at least certainly some of them. And we also, so we have the Defenders of the Ultramar and everything that comes with it. So 7 companies of Ultramarines, and we go down into the different wars. And I imagine as we read this, when this is complete, the battles themselves may actually correlate with things like these war zones, which would be quite interesting. And then on here we have the Invaders of Ultramar. So who exactly was during this particular part? We have the various armies that took place. So I mean, I imagine that, you know, a lot of this stuff, when I go through these pages, when I'm just kind of opening up the magazine, sometimes these don't really make sense, and it might not be until we get to the end that we realize just how in-depth and how well this reads. At the minute, a lot of it is kind of jumped up and there's bits and pieces all over the place that we don't quite understand. So we'll have to see on that one. Now, of course, we're going to go into the building section now with the container. Now, unfortunately, we have The problem with this magazine is we have scenery number 1, scenery number 1. Essentially, these are identical. So we have a page here that is identical to that page, a page here identical to that page. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot we can do about it. It was speculated that perhaps it's due to the fact that some people may not have picked up the original armor container issue, and so we needed a repeat. I don't think it's really necessary, but there we are. That's just the way they've done it, and unfortunately there's not really a lot we can do about it. The difference being, however, we do have, if I just find the beginning of the armor container, how to paint your armor container number 1. We paint it black. In this issue we are painting it McCrag blue. To be fair, there's not really much difference in terms of how to paint that in this book, and then we dry brush it. If we have a look here, we dry brush both the black and the blue with Mechanica Standard Grey, and we pick out the lead belcher and armoured Retributor armour in both of them, and then as we come along, we don't wash the we're not washing the model, which is a little bit different, but other than that, and what I will point out though, however, is again, this is why I say this issue is going to be really slow. These two are identical. Death Guard green for your for your boxes and Retributor armor, and then on the other side, Agaric Shade. I mean, those two pages are identical with the exception of down the bottom here we have a black container and we have a blue container. So a little bit, yeah, it's a kind of a bit of a waste of pages, because we've seen that before. We come into here and it's virtually identical with the exception of the colour of the container, which is a shame. We do, however, go into a tutorial for the mission number 16. If we head towards the back of the folder now, we don't need the tutorial for mission number 15, which was Secure the Fallen, and our introduction to flying units, which we already have. In this battle we are using a Blight Hauler, 5 Plague Marines, 12 Poxwalkers, along with 5 Intercessors, 3 Aggressors, a Primaris Librarian and 2 Hellblasters. And so we're using victory points on this one. I don't know if we've had victory conditions, victory points and gaining points throughout the magazine. We probably have done, I imagine. I do need to have a look through again and just see exactly what missions we have and haven't got. There's a lot of magazines here and I haven't had a chance to read every single one of them. And so I can't quite remember exactly what rules we've got in which, but we do have, we are looking at this now. I just do have a look. This is the entire game phase now. So I think we're going to start heading into the realms of getting some proper rules. And in fact, I do know for a fact that very soon we are going to be getting a copy of, if I can find it relatively quickly, I say relatively quickly and then I can't find it. Yep, that's gone into the void. But yeah, I do know relatively soon we're going to be getting a little A5 cardboard leaflet that contains all of the core rules for 40k as it is properly. Hello Wayne, thank you for coming back. That was a quick dinner. So yeah, we've pretty much got the whole game here. We just now, what we're going to be doing is, instead of walking you through the rules one at a time, I imagine we're going to have an overview very, very soon of all of the rules along with the core rule book. So we have, yeah, fire zone secured. So we're going to set up your models, and we have variable missions. In your game so far, we've given you set deployment points and objectives to use. In most games of Warhammer 40,000, you deploy your units inside a deployment zone, giving you flexibility to place your units. You may also be able to place your own objectives within some limits. So it just means that basically, what that means is instead of using the little markers that you have to tell you where to put your models, you've now got an entire 3-inch space to put your models down. So this is for tutorial for mission number 16, which is a bit weird because we have tutorial number 19, which is mission deployment, which I believe actually this is how I end up getting all my things mixed up, is tutorial number 19 for mission deployment. This is what they were just talking about how to use your deployment zones in various different places. How to put your models in different parts of the model. In fact, that does go under here. This is where this part of the magazine does get a little bit confusing, because they're not really explaining. We did have a discussion about this, about how if they'd have put numbers down, we'd have been able to see what page should go where. Friday, what is it? Friday uploads to YouTube. That's it, Tim. Just do that and it'll tell you exactly what it is. That's what they're there for. More like an FAQ there. You can get your questions asked without having to ask me. And so yeah, so it's explaining about, you know, deployment zones now, and rather than using the very specific spots that it's told you to, and then it's walking you through the deployment and how you actually do a deployment. So yeah, you take it in turns, deploying a unit. Your unit goes together rather than using individual spots, and also you can place your units either end should you wish. And so yeah, I do have a series of videos planned in the future where we can we'll go through all of these as well. And then of course, like we said, you've got your deployment mission, and then also rather than the magazine telling you where to place your objectives, it tells you that, you know, most games you've got some rules to follow about objective placing, but other than that you pretty much decide wherever it is you want to place it. And so it's walking you through that. And like I said, this is going to be a very short episode because we've already hit the back page. But what we do have coming up next week on Monday will be Rakath Flesh and Mephiston Red, along with the Conquest issue number 18, which it's been a long time coming. It means that these two lovely models will come back into play for at least this one episode, at least, where we start adding at least a little bit more paint to these guys. So make sure you tune in on Monday for that. And in 2 weeks' time, issue number 19, hopefully, because as always with Hatchet Park Works, we have one magazine left on the shelf to release next week as a live stream, and I'm not even 100% sure if that will be here on time. It will be 2 weeks from now, so yeah, they've got 2 weeks to get their acting gear. But other than that, that's pretty much the magazine done. There really isn't a huge amount in this one. It's very, very light. It's a shame when they do one of these magazines that doesn't have, you know, it's got a lot of repeated stuff in it. Let me see if I can get that folded over without ruining anything. No, I can't. You know, we've already had an armoured container given to us, so a lot of those pages in the back were pretty much repeated about how to build it and how to paint it. You just got different colours at least. And so, yeah, it's a shame that they missed an opportunity. We've got a mission which is nice, but we could have had a lot more fluff in this one. Whereas it is, we've got nothing in it, you know, which is a shame. I have mine dispatched at least. Did you catch the line that isn't true anymore? Which one? Which line? You missed the start. Does the mag have lots of fluff? No, not really. To be honest with you, the fluff. Whoops, the patriarch goes flying. The fluff that came with it, just after the history section, was no, it was basically, it was 3 pages, three actual pages. Yeah, it was. It was talking about the Defenders of Ultramar, that follows on from the Warzone Ultramar page that we've already got. The Defenders and the Invaders of Ultramar, and I can't remember exactly what the other one was, but it was like one other page, so it was like 2 pages of stuff. And the painting guide is pretty much identical to the previous one, with the exception of, instead of painting it black and dry brushing it grey, you paint it blue and dry brush it grey. And it missed out the washing stage of washing the gold and the lead belcher. But yeah, so I mean the painting guides is pretty much identical. As it's written in the codex, so it shall be. Check the back of the mission. Oh dear. Let's have a gander. Which the back of the mission? Oh, I'm gonna go back to it now, and I'm all twisted because I put my feet up. Let's have a look. Courage and honor. Flying units. Fire zone secured. This is the one. As it is written in the codex, so shall it be. Which was Ultramarines Chapter Master minus Cargo. What's wrong with that? That's what they believe in, isn't it? It just means that, you know, Guanaman came back and changed the codex. So yeah, it's well, I mean, that's like half an hour long. This episode is like half an hour. So feel free, if you've got any questions for me now about Conquest, feel free to drop them in, because it is almost a shame to end an episode after just, well, less than half an hour. To be fair, it's been like, well, 29 minutes, which is a bit of a real shame, really. So yeah, that's very, very, very short episode. On a side note, Captain Slam is expletive. Yes, he is a little bit. He's very tough. Although he can, to be fair, you didn't shoot at him. You did kind of leave him alone, and kind of cost you. Captain Slam is very, very much a force to be reckoned with, and not something to be, definitely not something to be ignored. Ah, Daniel Grant, sorry, I missed your comment. My binder is nearly full. What are the odds we get another one? You will be getting another one. And they cost $7.99 a piece. And you get them, I believe you'll be getting one in a couple of deliveries time, I believe. As always, you can send it back. Obviously you have to pay for postage for that. I don't know if you can opt out of it like you could with the art book. I'm not 100% sure on that, because we do receive the first binder for free. we do know that there are 80 issues, and so I imagine each issue will hold, each binder is supposed to hold about 20 copies, and theoretically that would mean that each binder will have a separate section. So you have the red, the blue, the yellow and the green sections. Theoretically each binder will hold each of those sections. Each binder will hold each section. So unfortunately I don't know exactly when we're getting another one, but yeah, it should be next delivery is, I just saw Mark commenting also on the art book. Next delivery should be the art book, and then I believe the delivery after that should be another binder. Yeah, other targets are more important, plus you wanted me to shoot him and you never give your opponent what he or she wants. It was, to be honest with you, Wayne, me telling you to shoot Captain Slam was a friendly way of telling you, do not underestimate Captain Slam. He's there to die, and it's kind of a bit of a is it a bit of psychology going on there? I don't know, but it was meant as a friendly reminder not to ignore the single unassuming captain on the field. So yeah, it's he is nasty. He can die very easily as well. You take away his invuln save, he's gone. Overwhelm him with bolt of fire or similar, he's gone. Because it just, you know, when you have to force Captain Slam to make that many saves, you know, every time I hit a 2 or a 1, it forces me to make another 6-up save. And there's only so many of those I'm going to make as well. So he does die. He does die. You just can't ignore him, otherwise it hurts. I have the art book coming. You don't want your art book. I will be showing the art book when it arrives. To be fair, a lot of the art is pretty much copied and pasted from other sources, but it'd be interesting to have a look. I don't think it's as big as I think it was going to be, but we'll have a look. He's broken. You can't shoot at the when he charges. No, but I mean that's just one thing that he's got. I mean he's no different than any other Marine. If you start charging at him, you know, he's a 3-up invuln. Just shoot him. He will die. He's not invincible. He just hurts when you leave him alone. It's the same as don't underestimate characters. I keep forgetting. Rubbish memory. Oh, you keep forgetting to opt out of the art book. If you can't cancel it, anyone want to buy it from you? Somebody will do. Stick it up on eBay for, you know, the same price as you paid for it. You'll probably get your money back. But also you can send it back to Hatchet. And actually, to be fair, I do believe that Hatchet have a free post address. So if you can't sell it on, you might be able to send it back for free. In which case you can then send it back and get your money back. I mean, it's a bit of messing around, but you might be able to do that. But don't quote me on the free postal address. I haven't actually looked. So and yeah, if you turn up on eBay, there are people in the US that want it. Yeah, and you can probably even make a profit on it if you really want to. I mean, it's a bit different if you kept hold of it for a few months or wait until the end of the magazine run. You could probably make a profit on it. I don't know how well a little bit of extra pennies would work in terms of while it's still being released. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you've paid for it, so it's not like you've got something for free. It's not like you're scalping. I know that it's because it's UK exclusive, etc. There are collectors in the States and abroad always buying. Is the art book UK exclusive though, or is it a Conquest exclusive thing? Because obviously Conquest has been released in certain areas of mainland Europe now. People are selling issues on eBay for double the price. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, it's capitalism for you, but that's what happens. Yeah, make a profit from that shit. Yeah, art books normally sell for around 30 quid. Wow. So the Conquest one is half the price, but is it half the size? That's the other thing. You see, admittedly, a lot of the people have been mentioning. I did know that one person has already got theirs that I saw posted on Facebook. A lot of the artwork in the book you can find elsewhere. It's not like you can't see these images anywhere. It's not. They're not exclusive artwork commissioned for Conquest. So it's not an exclusive thing there. It's still Europe and the States are missing out. Yeah, they are. I mean, I know the States are still missing out. What's ironic, though, what I have noticed is that the Australian and the New Zealand prices that are still on, if I bring this up here, we still have Australian and New Zealand prices. It doesn't focus on this camera. On the copy. Yet nobody in Australia or New Zealand are getting it yet. So that's something that's also very interesting. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what's going on there. I would have thought that that people would have been it would have been over there by now, but it's not. It's very true. I know a few people that buy art books just to have them in a collection, etc. Even if they have the same images. I mean, fair enough. I mean, you know, if that's the way, if that's what they get the enjoyment from the hobby, then fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, that's why I'm picking up. You see, the thing is, like I said, when I opened up, I think it's when I opened up the premium delivery, is that, to be fair, opening up a premium delivery live is a little bit late for pretty much everybody who lives in the UK who is getting Hatchet, because who's getting the magazine, because basically you have to have already bought it before I open it, which is a shame. But hopefully, I mean, I'm opening it up now. Hopefully everything's the same overseas, and so when I open up this art book, hopefully at least overseas we'll be able to see what they're getting. And so before they even get an opt-out letter, they already know whether they want to buy it, whether they want it or not. Anyway, it may only be in some select places, which is true. I hate duplicate artwork in books. My Wolf Codex is full of artwork from the previous codexes. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I mean, it costs a lot of money to pay. I mean, depending on how quickly an artist will get their work done and how often they get asked to do artwork, it will probably cost a lot of money to get new artwork printed every single time a new codex is coming out. Admittedly, I mean, you know, it's not quite the same game, but I'm a commission painter myself, and you know, it's expensive. There's a lot of time that you have to pay for when asking for that sort of stuff to be done. So I'm not surprised that you see the same images pretty much everywhere. I mean, even in the magazine here, you know, we're seeing artwork that we've seen before. They're not new pictures. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that it's artwork. But I think the difference being, though, is that I think they're selling the artwork as a case of, you know, these are going to be full pages artwork of things that you might have only seen a small amount. I know there are some. You know, it's a tiny little picture in a book, but they've blown it up to be the whole size of a page, whatever size the page is. So I mean, it might be, you know, you get to have a look at the picture in a much more higher resolution than what you would normally do. It's the same as like loot boxes and stuff. You can see reviews of it before you get yours delivered. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much. I mean, admittedly, the time frame with Conquest is a lot slower, a lot slimmer. You know, they're out every week, and you know, to be honest with you, almost everybody in the UK is already knows what's in it long before I even show it. online. So, and I mean, there are videos out there of people who actually buy it from the newsagents, which are, I've mentioned him before, Big Mac Danskull. He buys his from a newsagent, and so he currently has just opened up issue number 22, I think, and I'm only just now opening issue number 17 live. So, yeah, I'm always going to be behind, but at least in mainland Europe and but hopefully the rest of the world, you know, that's why these videos are for, and you guys can have a chat while we're discussing what we're already getting, which is nice. I like that. He did say a while back they were hiring for an artist at GW. I didn't know that. I haven't seen that. It was good at the start, but now they're like, yeah. I mean, it's getting, you know, like we said, if we're receiving, you see, the thing is, there's a bit of a confusion between whether we're getting our deliveries one every 4 weeks or once a month, because there is a difference. Now, so far, I believe we are being charged every 4 weeks. So it could be that instead of being sent our magazines every calendar month, we're being sent every 4 weeks. Now, however, there is a caveat to that, is that, you know, the glue box fiasco and then Christmas somehow caught them off guard. However that happens with a company that works all year round, I don't know. So we haven't really had any genuine kind of feel for how on the ball they're going to be. Now, obviously, with this first delivery in January, I'm hoping I should get a delivery next week. Now, if it is, that would be 4 weeks from the last time I had a delivery. If it's 5 weeks, of course, there's going to be a week where I either have to miss because I haven't received my delivery yet, or I'm going to be receiving on the day of the video. We're just going to have to see. But theoretically, I think we are getting charged every 4 weeks, so we should be receiving magazines every 4 weeks. Underdog Painting, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for coming along. We're just having a chat about Hatchet and their company. But yeah, so we need to figure out exactly. It also means that if it's 4 weeks, it will mean 13 deliveries a year. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, there's a difference between per calendar month and what I would call a lunar month, which is 4 weeks. Both of which can be used in just by saying, you know, you're going to get a delivery once a month. Is it 4 weeks or is it 1 calendar month? They haven't made that distinction. Admittedly, so far it's been once per calendar month, which means we are getting further and further behind. However, if they do mean it to be every 4 weeks, we hopefully will start seeing that starting to be more regular now that they shouldn't have any more excuses as to why a delivery is late, because we're not expecting any more glue and we're not expecting any Christmases anytime soon, and Easter shouldn't be that big of a deal with the exception of a couple of bank holidays. So we're just going to have to see. And I mean, Easter's quite late this year if I remember rightly, so yeah, hopefully we'll make it through. But yeah, that pretty much just remains to be seen. It remains to find out exactly what it is that they want to do. So, other than that, is there anything else we want to have a chat about? And I'll just wait half an hour for any comments to come through. Meanwhile, I'll have a little play with my my thing here. Oh, that wasn't meant to happen. How did that happen? That's what I watched. I also know Royal Mail has had an issue over Christmas and is nearly caught up. That could be an explanation as to why things are a little bit late. Underdog Painting, my shop has stopped getting Conquest in because I was the only one buying it. You should theoretically be able to ask for them to buy it in for you. I mean, my local shop, I've been buying the Warhammer Legends collection from about 2 years ago now, and we're getting towards the end of that, and my local shop has been buying that in for me. I hate to say it, guys, but the text on the A5 litre says a delivery of 4 issues once a month. I know. But the thing is, it might be once a month. They may be talking about once every 4 weeks as a month. So yeah, I mean, it's not 100% clear. We're just going to have to see, and yeah, and if it is the case we're going to be further and further behind, we'll just be further and further behind. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, and yeah, like we said, we're just going to have to see what happens, and sometimes I may just have to miss a week. Unfortunately, until we know for sure exactly, because so far, every time we've run out of magazines and we've been trying to ask them where the next delivery is, they have an excuse as to why it's late. First of all, it was the glue, and then it was Christmas. So even though we've been having deliveries every 5 weeks, it hasn't. They've had a reason why it was 5 weeks and not 4. So far, this is the problem with Hatchet, is that they're so difficult to talk to, and they're so blatantly vague with anything that they actually say to you, that it's difficult to really get any kind of black and white talk out of them. Because I know for a fact that sometimes you can order something and you get something every month, but actually what it turns out that every month actually means 4 weeks, which is quite legitimately the way to describe a month. But whereas everybody else is not. So it's difficult to figure out. I was just where I worked at Asda. Oh, Asda stopped stocking it. Asda are hard to get to do anything. Also, I got let go from Asda there. I think shops like Premier, etc., can do it better. Yeah, I mean, my local is a Premier, and yeah, I get him to order it all in. He just buys it in whenever he needs it, which is fine. End of probation, and they messed up a few things, so I found reason to get rid of a few people to save money on wages. Oh, that's a really rough gig. I mean, I worked at Asda myself actually. I was a Christmas temp, and then pretty much bullied myself onto full-time team. So yeah, that's pretty much. In the few deliveries I've had, the delivery date has stayed roughly the same. I don't remember getting the deliveries roughly the same sort of time. I haven't really considered that. I mean, I'm sorry, I have considered it, but I don't really recognise a pattern. But then if that is the case, you see, if we are getting deliveries around about the same sort of time, we need to really, really be careful about how often we're paying. Because if you consider over the course of a month, you got to be really careful what we're paying for. Now, admittedly, they are very clear on structuring what you're paying for on the website, so you can see which magazines you've paid for when, which is good. But yeah, you could find that we would be paying for magazines a delivery in advance. You check your bank. Yours is about the 10th each month. Unfortunately, mine comes out. My subscription comes out of a bank account I don't have immediate access to, so I can't really see where they come out. But I have had a look at. You see, the thing is, I've looked at the Hatchet Parts Works my account on Hatchet Part Works. If I could actually figure out how to get onto the website itself. Let's have a look here. I love how we're managing to stretch this episode out, though. We've already done the magazine about 20 minutes ago. If I have a look at my, you see, the thing is, mine is the 25th, the 28th, the 30th, the 26th, the 28th, and the 3rd of September. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. 26, 26. They're around about the, yeah, it's mid, but then if I've got a difference of 5 days on mine, on my account. So there's a 5-day difference between the earliest part of a month and the latest part of a month. So that's quite a gap for it to only be once every calendar month. Welcome, Reese. Thank you for joining us. We finished the magazine about 25 minutes ago, and we're just having a chat now and complaining about Hatchet's business model, mostly. But yeah, speaking about having a chat, if you're not already a Patreon, you can jump in on Patreon for about $1 a month, and we just have chats like this all the time. Over on Facebook, we have a Patreon chat where we just have a gas and complain about things like this. And just generally, we do talk about positive things, I'm sure, as well. We do chat. But yeah, I'm just wondering if there's anything else that people want to talk about as well. I do keep asking, because if there isn't anything, I won't hold you all up any longer than you need to be. Keep having a quick look at various social media stuff. Phone keeps buzzing. Yeah, we waffle a lot. Your pledge came out today. Well, thank you very much, Race. I will ensure to have a look at that at some point. My phone's just properly buzzing at me now. Let's have a look. Yep, that looks like that's gone all through all right. Yep, and now I just have to wait for Patreon's being a bit slow this month. Anyway, you guys have been charged all right, and now I just need to wait for it to go through. So, anyway, I think we've chatted for about as much as is necessary. I think it's been quite. It wasn't that great of an issue, to be fair. Yeah, with only 2 pages, 3 pages. I'd have to either go back and have a look at the beginning of the episode. But 2-3 pages of fluff and a build and paint guide that was virtually identical as issue number 15, 14, something like that, with the other armored container. But we have a new mission to try out, so that's kind of cool. Like I say, keep an eye on Instagram, which you can keep an eye on any of my posts. I'll get things posted on Instagram when I get deliveries and stuff. And yeah, you'll get to see when I get the delivery, and you'll be able to find. Keep an eye out on Instagram and on Facebook as well, so that you can find all sorts of posts about the other things I do. Next time I'm live will be on Thursday, which Wayne has quite kindly popped in the chat for me there. You get to see me carrying on painting the Canoness Viridian. It's out of focus because it doesn't autofocus, but that was the Canoness Viridian. I'll be doing her on Thursday night. as per usual. And Reese is in the chat with us tonight, and you get to see her and me playing Kill Team next Tuesday, which will be very nice after next Monday's show. So next Tuesday, me and Reese will be playing Kill Team, and I believe Reese wants to go live on her on her Instagram while we're doing a bit of a practice game. The meaning of life. I don't quite have a meaning of life one, but that's a nice one. I will pop one of those. I am going to use that one. So come back on Thursday and you'll see what that one does. So yeah. So yes, Chick Paints on Instagram. Go and check her out if you're not already following her. And we may be streaming at some point tomorrow on her Instagram account, where we'll be doing our practice game in ready for next Tuesday. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense. I now need to go and make a command for meaning of life, so thank you for that one, Daniel. I will definitely be using that one. That was clever. So yeah, alright guys, well thank you very much, it's been a pleasure. We managed to waffle on for another half an hour after the very short magazine. Thank you to everyone who's been here. Actually, genuinely, there's too many of you in the chat for me to remember all in one go, but I think it was Wayne, Daniel, Reese, Chris, Underdog, Tim, thank you. I think that's everyone. If I've forgotten you, I'm very, very sorry. But yeah, thank you all for watching this one, guys. I will see you in the next one, alright? Ta-ra.